We are live. Welcome to another live Friends Like Us live. It's a review and a preview. I'm Marina Franklin, and this is
Evelyn Frick.
hello.
Hello.
Hi, all you beautiful people out there. I always try to promote this on the Instagram and then I forget. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I probably should. I probably should do that. Well, I'll send one while we're doing this. How you doing, Evelyn? What's going on?
I'm good. Yeah, this week has been, I'd say pretty normal. I mean, working for a Jewish media publication, there was a lot of writing up about Whoopi Goldberg this week,
I know, right?
which I did. Yeah, but otherwise, it's been pretty good. My girlfriend's birthday is on Monday, so I think tomorrow we'll probably um, do something nice together. But yeah, that's really what's going on for me. What about you?
Well, I have a lot of questions to ask you about the Whoopi Goldberg thing, but
Yeah,
for me, it's just been writing, a lot of writing, getting that in, stressing out about it, try to
yeah,
make sure it's where it's to be.
yeah.
Writing with someone else is not easy.
No,
Um,
it's not.
but I am glad I'm writing with Bonnie McFarlane because she's really thorough, good. She knows my voice pretty well,
That's
and she's
great.
so smart. Um, and it's a lot about story structure that I did thought I knew because
Yeah,
I can write my own story quite well. I did that
yeah.
years ago, but this is putting things together in a way that I never thought, and it's I think I can now on my own write a script much better than I've ever written before. So I'm excited
That's
about
great.
that.
Yeah, for sure. I totally know what you mean. I find like I know some people can write a lot easier with like a writing partner, but I've always found that um I know creative input is always helpful, but I feel like I write faster or I don't know. I just like to write by myself usually.
Yeah, well, as a comic especially, we're always writing by ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's it's hard. It's
Mhm.
hard to just let people know what's going on in your head. That's the hardest part
Yeah.
about writing is a lot that I assume people get, they don't get. So I have to fill in the
Yeah.
blanks of a lot, and I also write that way. I write
Yeah.
very like subtle. I'm a
Mhm.
subtle, but you can't write a script like that,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know. But I often like even in jokes, that's how I write. So
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
new. Oh, hello, Jake Smith. Oh, thanks for
Um,
promoting it on Twitter.
of
Hello,
course.
Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Mhm.
Hello, Renardo. Oh, I should say, tell us where you're at.
Yeah.
Um, hey y'all. Welcome to the show.
Mm.
Tell us where you're at. You are at. I don't know why I put a question mark. It's supposed to be an exclamation point, but
That's okay.
is that okay? See,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
also like, I noticed something about myself. I write a lot. I put in. Did you notice I used to do that when you were working with me? I would just put question marks where they didn't need to be.
I actually never noticed that.
Oh, I always have it. Like it always sounds like I'm like, let me know if you have any questions. And exclamation points. I used to always like be yelling all the time, like
Yeah.
in my letters. It was like all the time, just yeah.
That's so funny.
Ohio. Oh, that's right, Jake Smith.
Nice.
Fayette County, Georgia. Woo!
Mm,
Let's put that up.
nice.
Let's see what else here. Good afternoon, Renardo. Um, Marina, you're gorgeous. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. I'm in Michigan. All right, it is freezing here too. Is it
Yeah.
cold too? It's much better than last week, though, right?
Yeah, it's a much better. And also today it's like actually sunny. The last few days in New York have been like really wet and like rainy, which has been really gross. Like I haven't left the apartment like I mean I've gone like run out to do like errands or like taking out the trash or whatever, but I haven't really left the apartment in a few days because it's just been so gross.
I had to leave,
Mm,
and I gotta say, leaving really helps my spirit. Like
yeah.
it's hard with the weather. You
Mhm.
have every reason to not go outside.
Yeah, definitely.
Like today, if you listen to the weatherman, it'll sound like all the streets are slick and that you'll
Yeah.
fall. And like I went to the farmer's market with no problem.
No. Yeah,
I was like, let me see if they're right
yeah.
about all this. And then I got out there and I was like, there was like one little patch of ice.
Nice.
Guy was like, you better be careful. It's gonna be slippery out there. And I was like, no, I'm
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to tag us as I'm talking to you.
Yeah, no, I find that leaving the apartment definitely helps, my spirit as well. Even just, like, a walk around the block, I find really improves my mood. So I'm hoping that this week the weather is a little bit nicer. 'Cause it is nice just, like, over lunch to take a nice walk.
It is. And if you don't, after a while, you'll get what's called like, I went for a walk after not walking for a long time and I had itchy leg syndrome
Oh, really?
where your veins and all that stuff start to get like, because your cardiovascular is not getting the workout that it
Oh,
needs. So
okay.
when you're walking and it's
That sounds
killer.
terrible.
It's so horrible.
Oh
'Cause
god.
your everything is it feels like really itchy, but it's just
Yeah.
like, you know, it's just from not moving around.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that,
I
yeah.
used to get that as a runner, but then the more you ran, the less it would happen.
Then
But it's
sure.
just telling you you're not moving enough.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, yeah.
Itchy leg syndrome will definitely be getting me out of the house now.
Yeah, but when I went to that farmer's market, I will say this, I do get annoyed in this type of weather when someone is, like, having a full-on conversation, and it happened
Mhm.
again,
Oh,
where
no.
this woman, like I call these, like, microaggressions, but not maybe I'm just annoyed by everybody. But this woman was, like, beating me to the front of the line of the bread person,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so she was like beats me to the front of the line. She has a child with her, so I have to be, like, nice because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, she has a child, so I guess that's more important than me." I'm like, "Okay, she has a child, so I guess that's more important than me." I'm trying to, like, share the page.
That's
So
funny.
so what happened was that now she's at the front of the line. I'm like, "I okay,
Yeah.
alright." Right? But now she's taking her sweet time.
Yeah, I
And
hate
she's like,
that.
I think the focaccia bread, and she's crossing her legs and she's kinda like doing like a little dance, and I'm like, "Okay, no, 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 no." I was like,
No.
"I don't mean to like rush you, but
Yeah.
you act like I'm not standing here."
Yeah, yeah,
Now, and that's what really bothered me. I was like, "You get all the stuff you need, but you knew I
yeah.
was trying to get here too, and now you're doing this little dance like I don't exist." So now the
Yeah.
kid behind the counter who's helping the guy, he's putting tags on everything instead of saying to me, "Can I help you?" Which really
Oh,
annoyed me on top of that. So
yeah.
then he looks up and he's like, because I'm like standing there because she's taking long enough that he could
Yeah.
finish his work on the
Oh my
tags.
god.
And I know he was hoping that she would be done so then the guy would take me next, but now
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the kid who's back there doing the little useless work that he needs to do, and he's like, "Can I get you?" And I was like, and I just give him this look like, "Yeah, motherfucker, you see me standing here. You see me standing here looking at you."
Yeah.
And then she gives me a look like,
What?
"Yes,
That's
yes."
so annoying. I feel like it's just, like, common knowledge that, like, at a farmer's market, like, type situation, like, there are a lot of people around. If you step forward, you have to have, like, what you want ready because it's, like, there's so many people around.
Yes. And I was oh, let's see, we're live on YouTube. Join us now. Let's see how many people joined us just because I put this on my Instagram. It's so funny. I'm sorry, Evelyn. I mean,
No.
is that okay?
Oh,
I
that's
know it's
fine.
not the best. I know.
You're fine.
All right.
No
Sorry.
worries.
All right. I shared it. So let's see if we get more people. But, the people we have, I love.
Yeah, they're great. I think I
Hi,
recognize
Trixie.
everyone's
Hi,
name.
Mike. Mike Dickety. Hello. Virginia's in the house. What up,
Mm.
Virginia?
Oh.
What
Oh, I don't think I
up?
recognize Trixie, actually.
Trixie is new. Yeah,
Oh.
that's very new.
Exciting.
Yeah. Exciting and new. So I also had people hanging things in my apartment before today.
Um,
For I do you know how to hang like paintings and stuff?
no, not really. We have like art hanging in the apartment, but it's like purely like those what is it called? Like those like kind of like sticky hanging things that you can get from like Target or something. Command strips. We use
Yeah,
like
those
those to
things
hang
over
stuff.
time, they
I
just
know they're not.
fall.
Yeah, they're not great. But yeah, because I have no idea how to like properly hang things.
That's what those things were created for. But I
Yeah.
had, well, we'll wait for Juskow to come on because uh, he knows Lois. But yeah, she had two. So the Irish, they were in my apartment today.
Oh, that's funny.
Patty and Lois, and Patty was hanging all the hooks and stuff.
Mhm.
And he's so funny because he's all I think he knows I'm a comedian, so he tries to make little jokes. He goes, "This door doesn't have enough meat in it." And I was like, what are you trying to say? It's not a meaty door,
Or that's
which means it's
very
hard to
Irish.
hang stuff if
Yeah.
it's like hollow.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but it was a little extra wink with the door not being meaty enough. I was like, "You watch your mouth." I think I know where you're going here with this. Stace
Um,
Williams, what up?
Hello,
We have
Steve.
your thing ready to read. Respect
Mm,
the honesty. Oh, thanks, D. What did I
mm.
say?
I don't know actually.
I'm always honest. So
Mm.
how was it with the writing about Whoopi Goldberg? How did that go?
It actually went surprisingly well. I thought so. I wrote basically just like an explainer piece on it because like the whole thing is like extremely like complicated. Like the historical context of it, the context of like where Whoopi's
Sorry.
coming
Just
from.
burned myself with hot scalding coffee, but keep
Oh
going.
no. So yeah, I just wrote an explainer on it, and I thought that like so we have an Instagram where we like post a lot of like our articles and like Jewish content. So I thought the Instagram comments would be a nightmare, and they actually were pretty good. People were fairly receptive to it. My point of view is that essentially like it is I think pretty indisputable that the Holocaust like was about race. I mean, you see that in like a lot of like the writings and like beliefs of Adolf Hitler and talking about like an Aryan master race and like the racial impurity of Jewish people, of homosexuals, of the disabled, things like that. But I think where a lot of people weren't like drawing their attention to is that like Whoopi's coming from the perspective of like race in America, which is a very, very narrow definition, but it's still like very valid that like in America, race means like the color of your skin. And like that's like Whoopi was coming from like her context of like her own experience as like a Black woman. And I think people like a lot of people were kind of rushing to be like, "Oh, we need to like punish Whoopi," or like this is like bad. And like the comments I think were misinformed, but I don't think it's anti-Semitic. And I think we really kind of missed out on like an opportunity for it to like be like educational, not just about Whoopi. This is so much larger than her. Like, but for like, I think it points to the fact that there needs to be better Holocaust education in the United States, which is like what the whole segment on The View was about. That like where Whoopi was talking about, because you're talking about the graphic novel Mouse was banned
Right.
in that Tennessee school, and you're seeing other like like schools banning like Holocaust content because they're saying it's not age appropriate, but actually they're just then presenting like a very sanitized version of the Holocaust.
Yes.
Um, that's kind of my perspective, and then also it hits on an even like larger complex discussion within the Jewish community about whether or not Jews are white, which I mean Black Jews, brown Jews, Asian Jews exist, and they are by no definition white. but it's still like a discussion within the Jewish community of like people who are like Jews who are from Eastern Europe, and because like the Nazis saw Jews as not white, does that mean that they're not white? Is like is Jewishness like an ethnicity of its own because of the historical context of like shtetls, which is like isolated communities that Jews were forced to live in, and then only like married and like had children with other Jews. So it's it's pretty complicated, but my tendency is to be more empathetic to Whoopi and to really kind of push less on like punishment and more just like generally everyone needs to be better educated about the
Just
Holocaust.
educated. Education is key. I mean, her
Yeah.
comments were just ignorant, you
Yeah.
know? And you can get, like, sort of where she was going, but when she was corrected, I watched
Yeah.
that episode, she kinda doubled down, which was the
She did
problem.
double down.
And
Yeah.
then, and a lot of people don't watch the show like I do. I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Whoopi phrases things a lot of times where I'm like, "I don't know if I would phrase that way."
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they'll correct her and then she will double down like she's right. And it's like this
Yeah.
is the one time that everyone saw it and
Yeah.
everyone called her on it. But they
Yeah.
did bring someone on to really educate the
Yeah.
next day. And I listened to that and I learned a lot from it. And I think a lot of people, one of the things that thinks is not happening is a lot of people aren't listening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about being like I think something that people generally need to learn is that like when someone tells you that you're wrong, that instead of like getting defensive, which like even like I know I'm guilty of, like we need to be more like open and like willing to listen to other people. Also, just wanted to point out, Dee said also Whoopi is Jewish herself, which actually a lot of people think she is. She actually isn't. Her Whoopi Goldberg is her stage name. Um,
I thought
so
she converted.
I know she did not.
Let's bring on the man of the hour as we're talking about this. The
Yeah.
man, the myth, definitely not the legend. Give it up for Dave
Everybody.
Juskow, everybody.
Are we talking about Hebrews?
Yeah, we're talking about Whoopi
Yes.
Goldberg.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothers me about that is that it's a little two-faced sometimes. I think if Joy had said something about blacks, she would have been fired immediately.
You think so?
Yeah, because this is what happens in the NFL a lot.
But
Is
if
that
she had said it the way that in the same way,
yeah, I think there's a little bit of a double standard in the sense, like in the NFL, I know this happens a lot. When black guys say something anti-Semitic, they usually get a slap on the wrist and a fine. But I think if it happens the other way, you immediately get fired.
I don't know about that.
I don't think
I mean,
That's what I've
true.
noticed.
well, in the NFL, perhaps, which like
Well,
there
not just
definitely is a
I mean, I give
problem.
you the fact that Whoopi only got suspended for a little bit is a great example. I feel Joey Behar would have been fired.
Well, we'll see with Joe Rogan.
But I don't think Whoopi Goldberg for a second is anti-Semitic or anything. Like Evelyn was saying, it's just
Yeah.
I guess a little misinformed.
Did you see her make the comment on
Yeah,
The
and then to
View?
double down on the
Yes,
Stephen
that
Colbert.
was
Yeah.
well, the Colbert one I did not see.
Oh yeah,
I watched
no,
the Colbert,
that
which
was
is
the double
really
down.
That was the
interesting.
problem, right?
Yeah, that was because then she like apologized, and I saw like the Twitter apology, which I thought was like pretty good. It was like she cited like the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, who they also then brought onto the View to talk. So I thought it was like a decent apology, but then it was this weird like disconnect of then when she went on Colbert, like kind of doubled down. But she has so there's this whole complicated thing of where like she's like, I'm pretty sure I have Jewish lineage, and then she like went on that show with
Are
Henry
you talking
Louis
about
Gates.
Marina or Whoopi?
Whoopi.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but she doesn't have Jewish lineage.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
It
Marina
is
does.
funny for somebody. I mean, I knew she wasn't Jewish too, but it is hilarious to see Whoopi Goldberg in trouble with the Jews. Like just the name on the bottom of the screen.
I did have an argument with someone years ago. He was Irish. In a car going to a gig. I can't say the comedian's name, but I was like arguing about the fact that it's a race. It's a race. And he was like, no, it's a religion. I go, no, it's a race. And we went, I mean, for hours back and forth. And I feel like texting him. I go, so now what do you think?
It's complicated though.
It's so
It's true. We
complicated.
are the only religion that is, done by, considered a race by our religion.
It's
religious
really
belief.
weird
Very
because
strange.
you can view Judaism as an ethno religion, which is
Yeah.
that like it's Jews are unified by a common like faith, but then also there are some Jews who have like are ethnically Jewish because of, like I said,
Lilith?
like shtetls, where there was like only reproducing within within Jewish communities, which like then has produced like common genetics. And then also some people believe that you can trace all like Ashkenazi Jews to ancient Israel, which is unproved. Like you can't prove that. And also then gets into this really weird conversation in which some Jews claim to be indigenous people, which is not true. I do not believe that. And I don't think anyone should believe that. But yeah, so I think what a lot of people or like what the term is that Jews can have conditional whiteness, which is that like for Jews who have white skin and like experience white privilege, like you are white, but then there are like white supremacists who believe that Jews are not white. So then in situations where like Jews like or interact with white supremacists, that can be like really, really bad. But in my view, I don't think Jews should like define themselves by how like our oppressors define us, which I think a lot of people tend to do. So yeah, it's so interesting to see
It is.
American Jews like really grappling with what in Nazi Germany they called like the Jewish question, like in real time. It's very complicated and very heated for sure.
Yeah, I always feel like it's a good time to just listen, and if you don't
Yeah.
know something, really just shut the fuck up. If you don't
Yeah.
know something, like I think, and definitely don't double down on something you're not informed about.
Yeah.
I mean, like Joe Rogan, his comments, I saw how they spliced together all of the N-words and his apology about it, and then,
Yeah.
also Joe Rogan talking about going to see the Planet of the Apes and then walking into the movie theater. He's like, "This is the Planet of the Apes," and it was all black people. And then, yeah,
That's not funny.
Juskow. And but the thing is like these are old comments that he made that are very
Yeah.
problematic. And I have said I'm not like, I don't know Joe Rogan personally, but someone posed this to me just before I got on here. It's like, don't you, like, they were black and they were like, don't you have white friends that you've heard use the word? And I'm like, no, my white friends have never used the word, and not in front of me anyway. And I pretty much know them well enough that they would never feel comfortable using that word. I know, like, and I'm talking about like my friends from school, my friends from grammar school. Now my comedian friends, God knows. I give a soft, not a soft pass, but I go, well, a lot of times they're trying to be funny and they miss out. And then like previous to like today, saying the N-word was like kind of common and no one like stopped you for it. And now it's like you say the N-word, you don't say the word straight out. Either way it goes, I wonder what Spotify plans to do, because it is even though he apologized, it's
I thought that was pretty
problematic.
good. He apologized, and which was kind of cool for somebody like him. He did apologize, and he was upset that Neil Young doesn't want to do. And he said, maybe I just have people on the show. I thought it was a good apology. I thought it was good enough to, if I was Neil Young, I'd be like, well, I don't know.
I do like I think I do wonder though if he's ever gonna apologize for like misinformation that he spread.
Well, that's it. But you know what you guys were saying about the N-word too is I think, I've been doing my podcast for 7 years, and I think I used to use it a lot. Like you were saying, probably in jest, thinking it was funny. thinking it was okay. Not not in a sense like that's evil, but I guess I don't know. It was a different time, and I used to play clips from like Trading Places where they use it or something like that, and thinking it was really hilarious. And I definitely in this past year or two would never do that again. It's weird that I felt okay thinking it was okay, and now I guess I don't know, there's a total difference. Even saying the N-word, I was doing it on stage about the Queen of England or something when the stuff with Markle was happening, right? And Attell said, what the hell's the matter with you? Don't even say that. And it didn't even occur to me. Like I just stay away from that. Even saying the N-word.
Yeah, there was a comedian who was saying it on stage recently and he's from, I think I told you this, Juskow. He's from like Norway or something, Sweden or one of those. And he's trying to be edgy on stage. So
not that idiot that I can't stand, that Daniel Simonson, is it?
I'm not going to say who it is.
No.
But he was doing something and he was saying the word and he was saying how it's a cool word. He wants to be cool. And it was his interpretation of how he sees when black people say it seems to make them cool. And I had just used it in a joke, but I was using it as a character. So I was doing the Harlem bit where I say, this woman was watching Lord of the Rings and she said, "Damn, Negro, do your job." But I say the N-word, but I'm saying it as her. So he's talking about it on stage and I'm walking out of the room and it's like a heckle. I said, "Yeah, no. I was using it as a character. I was trying to clarify." And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's better." And I was like, "You don't get to do that."
Right. Do you remember
You don't get wait, let me just say,
sorry.
as a white man, you don't get to tell me how it makes me feel and how it's being used and how it affects me. Just like I don't like Whoopi doesn't get to tell anyone about the Jewish experience because she's not. So it's like you can do it on stage, you could try it, but good luck.
Do you remember, I mean, years ago, 15, 20, maybe probably more, maybe 30 years ago, Sarah Silverman would say it a couple times and it was shocking and awesome. And she would just, and it was gutsy. And this is what makes her Sarah, Well, she would never do that today, obviously. But she used it in the right sense at that time. And that's why I always think Kramer from Seinfeld thought it was okay which destroyed his career, to use at that time in the comedy club, because I think he thought, oh, this is cool. And I see somebody like Sarah, who's a professional comedian, using it. And I think that's what made him use it. I don't think he's prejudiced or whatever, but I think he had misinformation.
That's one of those situations. Didn't he double down on it too?
I don't think he doubled down. I think he was mortified, and he hasn't been seen again. I mean, he was in that one Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where they bought it up, and JB Smoove kind of was in on it and stuff. And
he hasn't been
tried
seen
to help
again.
him, and he was never seen again. Yeah.
Here's the thing is someone brought up what's his name who has the show and he's black, like Arsenio Hall, when he made a comment or he had Farrakhan on the show. We didn't hear from Arsenio Hall for years.
Yeah.
After that,
what happened?
He had Farrakhan.
Yeah,
on the Arsenio Hall. We didn't hear from him. He was gone.
From Arsenio.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying having Louis Farrakhan on destroyed Arsenio?
Yeah. Yes,
why would that be the case?
I don't know exactly why.
Well, Louis Farrakhan has made like anti-Semitic statements.
Yes, yeah, very
right,
anti-Semitic.
But why would that destroy Arsenio when I know he, doesn't care for the Jews, Louis Farrakhan. We all kind of know that going in, though. But why would that affect Arsenio in a sense? I mean, were only Jews watching him? I mean,
they felt it was anti-Semitic, and he was destroyed and taken off the air.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see like when like black like creators or like people in the spotlight like kind of do like things that are like controversial, they often get the brunt of like punishment for it.
Yeah, and so what happened was, so now Nick Cannon, if you remember, made
God, he's
really,
a mess.
but you know what? Back on the air.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He should be completely taken off the air forever. I don't
He
understand how he has like 3
apologized, though.
shows.
I mean, he apologized. Apparently, he was
Oh, he
like
did?
really, yeah. He was like, I apologize. I didn't know, and he's back.
He's so back, and I do not care for. I won't watch anything he's in. I think he's horrible.
Oh, look at this. They're talking about comics Ralphie. Okay, also use the word.
Well, if
Like,
Mike
I would say in the past or now. Are you saying current? Like, because Mike is no longer with us. Mike is past, but
Mike DeStefano. Oh, Lois is
and
Mike
and
DeStefano.
Ralphie May is no longer with us either. And so we're just saying this, the gas man, that there was a time when saying that word was not. It was okay. It was, unfortunately, it was okay for comics to dip in and out of that material and do stuff like
white
that.
comics too. Like,
Yeah.
even, you could take a chance. You had to be real careful though. I mean, but that's why yeah, it's weird. I don't.
Now, look, Philip Rogers said, unfortunately, I had to stop listening to Dr. Joe Rogan, and I had been listening to his podcast time to time. I also couldn't be down with his guests like Ted Nugent and Alex Jones.
Well, those guys are crazy, but
Here's
he's
the thing.
the kind of guy that has everybody on.
Well, here's
Isn't
the
that
thing, though.
good?
I'm going to tell you why I personally would never be a fan of Joe Rogan. There was a woman that he had on the show. She's Black, and I listened to the way he interviewed her. And if you're Black, you can tell the difference between, and white people too. My ex, who was white, this was 2 whites ago. he noticed he used to tell me, he goes, you see how that person is? That's racist. And if a white person can tell you, they can tell in a conversation. I go, okay, now we have something. There was something in the way he interviewed this woman in particular that said she was not like him. She was not mentally like him. It was it's just something in me. I can tell when white people talk and they don't think you're like the same. And I was like, after that, I was like, okay, good luck, everybody. Good luck. I was like, I know when I hear it.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard about the situation in the NFL with
the head?
The guy who's suing the NFL from
yeah.
the Dolphins?
I'm not too familiar with that story. Do you want to?
Well, it's
Yeah,
fascinating. This guy, now all of a sudden I can't think of his name. He was the coach of the Dolphins. He got fired, and I think he's very angry about being fired because he was winning. Hi, Elizabeth. And so he's suing the NFL. I mean, he's really taking a shot. There's a thing called the Rooney Rule, and it was this rule that was put in place. Oh, Brian Flores, thank you so much. I don't know why I couldn't remember. It's a rule that you have to interview someone of color if you're, and I don't know whether it goes for just head coaches or coaches down the line and those kind of things, but it's a rule that was put into place several years ago where you must at least interview a person of color for the job before deciding. And he felt the New York Giants, had already chosen somebody, and then it was like a token interview. But unfortunately, that's what the rule is. So the Giants did everything legally, and they're all coming back at this guy, which is very strange in this situation. And what you're talking about in this day and age, being very touch and go about a black man saying the league is racist. And the Giants are like, no, you're wrong. You're rude. And we didn't do any of that. And then, yes, exactly. John Elway just did the exact same thing where this guy in his lawsuit said John Elway came showing up late and hung over. And John Elway came out and he wasn't going to say anything and said, hey, that's not fair. I can't believe you're saying that. Here's exactly what happened. We talked to you for 3 hours. You were a complete candidate. So they're blowback for this guy, which is odd. It's very interesting, but people are excited that they're talking about it. Like Tiki Barber is a black guy that's on the radio all the time, and he's like, well, at least we're talking about it because the rule needs to be changed. I think there's this Rooney Rule. It's like a little antiquated. You just have to
I mean,
interview
it's
somebody of
very like
color. I mean, that's really not doing anything.
yeah, it's very tokenizing. Like and I think a lot of like organizations put rules and like that in place to be like,
But
look at us, like we're being inclusive, but it really
yeah,
does
and
nothing.
I used to work at a law firm for years, and I'd love to give their name, and they're all like, "We have to be diverse. We have to be diverse." And I was a manager at this firm, so I was in all the management meetings. They could say they want to be diverse 100 times, but they were never going to be diverse.
Yeah.
And it was a joke. It's an embarrassment, actually.
Yeah.
The why they even kept bothering saying it. They couldn't keep they couldn't keep one black attorney there, let alone the people that just work there. I mean, it was really bad. And I think a lot of the firms are like that.
I'm sure.
It's all just they're just saying it, and that's what I think happening
they're
here with the
just saying
NFL.
it.
And this guy's trying to point out, and he knows it's going to ruin his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. D. There's only 2 non-white head coaches, and right. I know there's one guy, but what's Brian Sala? Is that who you're talking about from the Jets? Because right now there's only one guy on the Pittsburgh Steelers who's a black head coach, and it just fell apart. It wasn't that way all the time. It's just could be a coincidence. Who knows? I think they're just always looking for the best candidate, but it's not. It's the NFL. It's all black, 90% black players. It's not cool to not have
It's an
people in
old
charge.
boys club, old
Yeah.
white boys club, and they
Yeah.
all own it. It's
Oh,
like,
it is Robert Saleh. Okay, that's what I wasn't sure
that's
if he
all I
was
know.
considered black or not. He's very handsome.
It is a weird time though, where it's like people don't understand, like
Oh, he's Lebanese Arab. Okay.
like when you punish someone like Whoopi having the 2 weeks off, like some people want her fired.
Yeah.
Like, and then like Noam put out a statement from this comedy seller saying he didn't agree with the 2 weeks suspension. He felt
What did
like
he
she
want?
apologized. He felt like she apologized, and that was good enough.
Yeah, I guess I feel that way too. I say 2 weeks isn't right. Either fire her or let her continue.
And then she did apologize, and I guess what everyone, but it's like I try to sit back and listen to, like, I spoke to someone who was like, this is something you're just not going to get. And I was like, I don't think that's it. I think I get pain and empathy. And if this is not mine to argue, right? If someone feels like she needs to be fired, I'm just going to sit there and go, if you feel that way, then you're justified and you're valid in that feeling. I'm not going to argue with you about that,
Yeah.
But I do think this is not like I said, it's not my argument. So I'm just going to sit out and listen to how other people feel, how Jewish people talk about this and how they feel about it, and just listen.
And I think also, like, unfortunately, like decisions like this, like coming from the top, they're financial decisions. It's not really about whether or not like CEOs or whatever like believe if like Whoopi's like apology is sincere, or like Spotify like deciding not to take Joe Rogan off. Like Spotify Joe Rogan is one of their top earners. Like
Exactly.
they're obviously not going to take him off.
Right.
So the 2 who just left, people have been making fun of Neil Young, right?
Yeah, and Joni Mitchell.
And people are like, oh, no one cares. But don't they? Isn't that money lost?
Well, you know what? They're kind of right in a way. Like, if you have Spotify, it's mostly for younger people. I think I don't think a lot of people are listening to Neil Young, but he is a living legend. His buddies, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, have gone there too, and they've gotten behind him, and they say we're with you. And like you said, Joni Mitchell. So, unfortunately, you need a Taylor Swift to say it, and then we'll see what happens. But this guy is old school. But the best thing about Neil Young is that the guy has been an activist for so long. I mean, it's like you got to respect it. He's still bringing it, in his 70s, and that's kind of cool. But I like what Joe Rogan said, and I like his apology. And I don't know. I mean, I don't like the misinformation either, obviously, but I do like that he has, obviously I'm the same way in a way. I do play both sides, and not unvaccinated sides, but with Republican people and Democrats and stuff. And I guess that's all he's trying to do. But
I think my problem with Joe Rogan is that he gives equal weight to those arguments, to arguments which fundamentally like do not have equal weight, because one is like non-factual and not true, and one like is like true, in terms of like vaccines. But yeah, so I
We
don't
also
know.
know Neil Young had polio
Yeah,
as a kid, so you can't blame him for being furious talking about how vaccines aren't important. You know, I mean, the
yeah,
guy, had this disease where they wiped out the childhood disease he had by having vaccines, and this has got to infuriate somebody like that.
yeah.
That makes so much sense. Poor guy.
Yeah, but so like you're seeing like so like Spotify's decision is very much like based in money, and I think also probably like Kim Godwin, the president of news at ABC, made a calculated decision about like the ABC viewership base and like how this might affect them financially, and I think that's a lot of like what
Well, we'll see. 2 weeks
yeah.
off is a lot for what, because let me tell you something. Me personally, I stopped watching the show.
You were
Only
watching
because
it?
I watch it every day.
It's not unwatchable for you?
It's not.
Good.
I'm telling you, it's one of those shows that I watch because at 11 o'clock, I'm at home. It's usually right before I do the podcast. I am an avid view watcher, and I like it when Whoopi's on.
Yeah.
Only because Whoopi, oftentimes, because she says things wrong, quite often, by the way, I'm always interested to see how they go back and forth, or how they like correct her, or if, because she usually is like the stamp on whether we'll continue this conversation. And a lot of times she's the MC of the view,
She
right?
is the MC. I think she is
She's the main host. She took
Yeah.
over for Barbara Walters. So like a lot of times that's interesting to me, to see her kind of double down on what she's wrong on, disagree. Like she always gives I forget her name on the show. I want to say Robin. Is it Robin on
I
the
only know
show?
Joy and Whoopi. I don't even know they've had so many comes and going. I don't know.
I forget her name. She's beautiful. She's a lawyer. If someone can, if I'm saying
Well,
that,
they
I don't
don't
know
even
why.
have the conservative person on anymore, right?
They had McCain, which is also
Well, I know
another
she was
reason why I think they doubled down on firing on letting Whoopi go for 2 weeks, because McCain was very upset with Whoopi on a lot of things.
Yeah,
And
but
she
she
felt
left
like,
a while ago. They never
yeah,
replaced her, huh? With like another conservative person.
they're
They've always had
trying to.
one conservative.
They've had people come in to try to fill that seat, but Meghan McCain was really the perfect conservative for that
Tamara
show.
has the name
Yeah.
for you.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
Sunny. Thank you, Sunny
Yeah.
Hostin.
Yeah, she's
So
gorgeous.
so Whoopi would oftentimes, and I don't know if this is just my perception, but she would kind of like Sunny would say something, and she would always disagree with Sunny. It was like seeing the two black people on the show disagree a lot of times. But Sunny is like really smart and knows what she's talking about. And a lot of times Whoopi would still come in and go, I don't know. And I'd be like, I think Sunny kind of knows more than you, but okay, you're the comic, you're the host, you've been here longer, you have more experience. But it was interesting to see that dynamic. Now it's like when Whoopi's gone on Fridays, she takes off every Friday because I guess she's older and she's been there long enough. I never really watched the show on Friday, so now she's gone every single day. It's like,
I didn't know you were watching. I didn't know anybody who watches it.
I watch. So I know the dynamic of the show, like pretty much more than a lot of people. And I'm saying this was the spotlight on Whoopi doing what she's been doing for quite some time.
Oh, I see. So what, you saw that live?
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened?
Yeah, I watched it
And
live.
when it happened, did you say, "Oh my God, she's going to be in trouble"?
No,
Did you
because I
feel
was
it at
doing
the
a lot.
time?
I was doing a lot of things. I was cleaning my house,
Oh,
and
I
then,
see.
but then when they replayed it, and you see like Ana Navarra going, no, it's like white supremacist Hitler was trying to. You're watching Whoopi, and then I came in the room and I watched Whoopi kind of double down and go, no, this was it, and she's doing the thing that she always does. She says her last word, and then they go to commercial, and that's the problem. Is like, you left her with the last. You always leave Whoopi with the last word because she's the host,
right? Or the MC, like you said.
Yeah. So it's like it's problematic when the person who's not always right has the last word.
Liz just said her name. Is that true? What did she say it was?
Oh yeah, her real name is Karen Johnson, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Or she just wrote it. Oh, Karen Elaine Johnson, but Karen with a C.
Yeah.
That's weird. Why would you choose Goldberg?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like also been discussion within like the Jewish community about how it's like like appropriating Jewish, which I tend to not give as much weight to, just because I think it's a last name. I mean, I think like
But we're all
some
trying to
people
get
say that
rid
they
of our
take
Jew
it because she
names.
wanted to do like better in the entertainment industry, or like her mother said she would. I don't really know about
That's
that.
a smart move. We're all trying to get rid of those.
Also, like, I don't I think like Whoopi Goldberg is like, I think I love her work. Like, I think she's very funny and very talented, and I don't think she needed to take a Jewish last name to make it an entertainment. But so, and I think some of the conversation about this from like there is like a racism issue problem in the Jewish community, and so like I've seen a lot of kind of like delving into like anti-blackness from Jews when talking about her name, and stage name. So I just don't give that much weight to it. It's Whoopi Goldberg. It gets fine.
It's so complicated, isn't it?
It's so
But
complicated.
it's so great to discuss because, like,
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot, like, and it's like, like we were talking about critical race theory. We've been talking about this in the schools and how people don't understand that it's not really being taught,
Yeah.
like, and also like what is the, my personal view on education in America is it's always been bad, especially the teaching of history. Teaching of American history is also about teaching the Holocaust.
Yeah.
You need to have that in school. And like I was saying I used to watch when I was a kid, it would come on TV and you would watch it and you'd be like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
this happened?" As a kid, as I was 8 years old,
And it
9 years old,
happened not that long ago.
not
That's
that
what's
long
so
ago.
messed up about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what, and I remember being like,
Our parents were alive.
yes, I remember being 24 years old and in New York City and watching like a documentary about the Holocaust and looking at the year and going, "Oh my God,
That's
this
what's
was
so messed up.
recent."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm 24 or 23, looking at that and going, why is this just hitting me at this age that this was this recent? I should be knowing this. And it's not making in school, it should be taught. You should know. I should know this. Just like, talking about African history. This is Black History Month. Talking about like people and during Black
You're
History
right.
Month
It's a
should
tough
be.
thing because even in that book, it's just it's so messed up. It's so the pictures, what happened. It's not like learning about a war where I guess everybody's decided we're going to go out and kill everybody and everybody has guns and it's all equal. This is just murdering all these people that aren't armed, and it's so messed up. I didn't want to see any of the pictures. I didn't want to know about it. I mean, it's hard to take.
I
Yeah.
think
How
there's
do
an
you teach
age.
that? How
I
do you
think there's
teach
an
that?
age where and I'm not like an educator, but I'm sure there's an age where no kid wants to feel trauma, right? Like trauma
Yeah.
stories, or like not even a Black kid wants to, wake up and hear, "Oh, I was a slave. We were, like no one wants that
Yeah.
on both sides. No one wants to feel guilty, and no one wants to also feel the trauma. So it's like what you're teaching, how you're teaching it, who's teaching it.
Well, then there's the other side where I remember when I was going to school, this is been a conversation for a long time. If you're teaching, that kind of stuff in politics, are you allowed to teach, what is it, fascism and that, can you teach the other side?
In college.
Well, right, in college for sure, but I remember there was talk about that in high school while I was going to school. Is it wrong to teach the other way? I don't know. Do you teach everything, or do you teach why this happened with Hitler? Or
Oh
I
my
mean, I think you
God.
can teach like the history of it. I don't think like any I don't think you should be pushing like a political agenda when teaching
I
kids.
agree,
So
but
like with like any sort of like history, like you can just like state the facts. But I think like the arguments that I've been seeing about like not teaching about the Holocaust with younger kids is that like it's not age appropriate, like it's too
It's too
traumatic,
much.
which I hear that, but also like you can go to any like Hebrew school in the United States and like I was taught about the Holocaust starting maybe when I was in like second or third
Yeah,
grade.
we were well in Hebrew school. We were taught
Yeah,
about it
like
all the
Jewish
time.
kids
And
are
think about when
taught.
I went to school. It had just finished. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably the first kid where they were like, okay, we need to teach it.
Yeah.
It's probably like 30 years after it happened, 20 years, right after it happened. They were like,
Yeah.
I'm probably the first generation of like, I think we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Probably
And like
didn't even-
obviously like as a kid, like it was scary to hear about, but like I learned about the Holocaust when I was a really young kid and I turned out fine. So
And I think that's the thing is like this little like panic that's like there's a fear mongering that's going on with Republicans. It's like, kids, you think kids can't handle it. And you are saying I got this at a certain age and I'm okay. What do you, like what is the babying we're doing? Like, I mean, we obviously like a 4-year-old can't really process,
There is babying now because that's what, all these parents that have grown up and they're like, I don't want my kid treated this way. And you're afraid to give a kid a B in school now. And there's just a bunch of babying. Everybody gets an award. They have baseball, at school and there's no score.
What?
I mean,
like handing out awards to everyone because
they're afraid to have losers.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and then also like things that you're seeing with like the fear mongering about critical race theory is like, so you have the new governor of Virginia who set up like a critical race theory like tip line, and you're starting to see parents reporting their kids learning about Black History Month as like they're like reporting that to the tip line saying, oh, my kids shouldn't learn about this. Like that's crazy. Like, like and also like I understand that parents like want to have the final like should have or think they should have like the final word about what it comes to their kids, but parents aren't, unless they are like actually educators. Most parents aren't educators, and so I don't think they actually in terms of education like know what is the best thing for their kids, because there is a lot of
these teachers right now.
I feel for them too, because like they can get reported for teaching things that are like fact and history.
They have to deal with racism. They have to deal with sensitive people. They have to deal with the vaccine, the masks, and they still don't even get paid enough for all this bullshit.
They don't.
I bet there's like a huge, a bunch of teachers just quitting, just like on the police force. Like a lot of older police have just retired. There's a lot of there's like, what do they call it? The mass quitting in America right now, of people just going, you know what, I ain't got to do it.
Meanwhile, I was at the same thing. I'm part of that. I don't want to work, but I've been looking for work because I'm a little desperate now for like regular work. And I was looking for a job last week, and they asked me if I was heterosexual or LGBTQ. What is it?
LGBTQ.
Yeah, or you don't want to answer. And I was laughing that I was putting heterosexual because everybody makes fun, but I should have just put LGBTQ because I'd probably get the job better, and there's no way they could prove that I wasn't. So
that would be wrong.
Well, how is it wrong? What are they going to do? Why is it there?
Well,
why are they asking that question?
Was it like a form?
Yeah, an application for a job at a legal place. Why do they care what my sexual preference is? If I'm working from home, it was for a remote job.
I think again, like it's in terms of like to protect themselves, like liability reasons, to be like, see, like, look, we are like interviewing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
why don't I just pick LGBTQ? What are they
I
going to do?
don't think that'll help you in terms of getting jobs.
However, we do know that there is a chance that this is you, though. And you just need to go. You need to go ahead and put LGBTQ because that is you.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
You in there.
Right. I don't know what I'm not a letter they came up with yet.
They need to have videos of you talking about how hot someone is, and they go, "Yeah, it's fine."
Right. Even the boys too, and like Gabrielle and Emily in Paris. Oh,
Oh, I tried to watch this. So we were talking, like last week about what are you watching right now, and
Yeah.
Emily in Paris. I was talking to Juskow about that this week. I tried.
you don't like it?
It's just
What's the
not my
matter with
cup.
you?
It's not my cup of tea.
How is that possible? It's everybody's cup of tea.
It's just kind of
Jessica, did you
fluff.
see
It's too fluffy.
Did you see like Peyton Manning on SNL
Oh my
talking
God, that
about?
was so
It
funny.
was so funny.
Everybody texted me, thought I wrote it.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, so like they had on Weekend Update, they brought in Peyton Manning, and the premise was like, oh, he's here to talk about like the
playoffs.
playoffs. And then he goes into this thing about like how he just wants to talk about Emily in Paris.
Oh,
It was
that's
really
so
funny,
you.
and like he really committed to it. Like
Oh,
I
that's
think
great.
he's very like it's always very fun for me to see like
He-
non-comedians like
But he's
play
good.
into it.
He's a really funny guy.
It was very funny.
Yeah, he's good. One of his hosting Silent Live is one of the best Silent Lives I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
could be a comic, I mean, he's really, really funny. His brother's the exact opposite. He's
Really?
boring and dull and not funny at all. But that's funny in itself. That's why
Yeah.
they're so funny. They have a new show where him and his brother talk on Monday Night Football. They have a separate station where they just make fun of people and have guests and just joke around and show pictures while the
That's
game's
funny.
going on. It's hilarious. It made a big splash this year.
That's funny.
So I had Lois over, who she's like always makes fun of you for your movie choices, and she tells even Esty when we're sitting. She goes, "Do you know what type of shows he likes to watch, though? The Bridget Jones's Diary, and
It's true.
I mean, this one he can't really handle it, can he now?" And I go, so she was just here, right? And I told you like they came to hang stuff and how we all went through this whole thing, but it was fine. But before they came up, I got a lot of messages about how it's been a tough week because someone died in
Oh
Ireland.
God.
She was just at a funeral.
Marina, it's been another tough week.
I think it's, oh, I don't have my phone. It was all, I think I could play it. I don't think she'd be so upset. Because I know people don't think I'm serious, but
last night at home in Ireland.
because people don't think I'm.
Thanks, Marina. No, my friend died last night at home in Ireland.
That's right off
She's
the
the
bat.
same age as me. So, and then after the wake on Friday, where I sat with Mike's mother, and then she started telling me all this shit that I didn't know.
All right, so that was like, it starts off like that. It's all the sentences really do start that
It's
way.
amazing that she doesn't see it.
It's just like every now and then I'm like, oh, here we go again. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. But it was so great. She brought Patty over to hang things in my apartment because I don't know how to screw things in the wall,
Me too.
apparently. And so it's really good to have someone handy like that. Like
Also, I
you
have
put
all these pictures over here that I never put up because I don't know how to do it either. And
can
apparently
kinda
it's like
see
the
up
easiest
here.
thing that there is, Marina, apparently. But we're not those
It's
kind of
not
people.
that easy. It's like you
It's
gotta
not
know
easy.
in New York City, you gotta know what kind of wall you have. You gotta know
Yeah.
where the groove is. You gotta
But
measure all that
everybody who
stuff.
comes up and does it always says, "Oh my God, it's so easy," but they don't understand.
And also, like,
No.
if you live in New York, like most people in New York are renting. So I always
Right.
get like really nervous about like if my landlord is going to be annoying about
Well, the
it.
worst thing years ago, living in this building, a doorman building, you used to be able, your money used to go places and you could give somebody $20 and they'd come up and do it. But now we're under this new, this management took over and they won't let anybody, you can't just pay anybody to get shit done anymore. It's really annoying.
That was annoying.
Oh, in your building?
Yeah. You totally used to be able to just go up to the guys and like, hey, I need this done, I need that done. And you just give them $20 or whatever, and you get it done. Now they're afraid to come into the apartments because they're gonna get sued by somebody.
Yeah. Also because it's like I know a story. Like I fixed my bathroom, and there was a lot of like debate over to whether I should or not. And later the landlord was like, "I'm glad you did," but if something had happened, like a pipe burst, Like I've heard stories about someone fixing a bathroom and the pipe burst and flooded 5 flights beneath it.
Yeah,
Oh
you'd
my
be
god.
screwed.
You're screwed. I mean, you're talking about a lot. This is Ryan Hamilton. I remember that Ryan was talking about, and his stuff got ruined, everything. And this is like, I was lucky. I just had someone who was like in and out, and they did that, and I was just very lucky. But no landlord wants you to stay anyway that long. They don't want you to be comfortable.
No, they don't.
They want you to rent and then get the hell out so they can raise the
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, Stace, I'm so with you. Finding
What is
studs
Stace?
can be difficult. I know what you're also talking about, but it's funny both ways.
That's good.
You have to locate
a
studs.
powerful you use a powerful magnet to locate studs if you don't have a stud finder.
Got a powerful magnet in my pants.
So this would be a good time, Evelyn, to read our reviews.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we got some 2 really lovely and long reviews this week. So the first I will pull from our friend Stace Williams because she is
She is here.
Yeah, she
know
sent a
she's
really
gonna give a good
lovely
review.
note.
It was such a good one, though.
It was really nice. Sent a really nice note to the Friends Like Us email about this week's episode. So it says, just a note of appreciation for today's episode, Public Servants for Change. Karen Norrington Reeves embodies the essence of public service, as does Zawadi Morris. And I think you, Marina, and your friends who are comedians like Kenise are doing a great public service too. Most of all, I appreciate the realness you bring as a host. You could have edited out the intro where you called Karen Karina, but it's so you to be authentic and let us see your vulnerability and humanity. This is just one small example of why I found you consistently relatable. And then at the end, have yourself a great day and keep up the great service you do. My heart is lifted because you're in this world, and I'm so grateful for the podcast and the live stream. With gratitude, Stace.
Thank you, Stace. And so she's talking about how for like 5 minutes of the beginning of the show, the guest who I had on, I was kind of nervous because she is running for a congressional seat out of Chicago. And so I was calling her Karina for like 5 minutes. Her name's Karen.
Oops.
But that is like, I kept it in instead of editing it out because that's what I do. I'm not like Barbara Walters, and I want people to think that I am when they listen to the show. Like, so why not keep it in? I think it's hilarious. I was like, Karina. She's like, she sent me a message. My name's Karen.
Oh, God.
But it also calls me out on how phony I was like, so Karina, and I was in my little reporter voice. She's like, by the way, it's Karen. And then I was like, how does it feel to be black and have a name like Karen? Must be difficult.
Yeah, you were probably just being like, I am not having anybody named Karen on my podcast, so I'm going to call her Karina.
Yeah, it was so funny, but I try to just keep it real because look, half the time I think what happens with all these shows, even The View, is that people, you don't know everything. You're no expert, and sometimes I think what's happening is people are afraid to be wrong.
Yeah.
In this day and age, and it's okay. It's okay if you're wrong. Just don't double down on it and listen. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
People are so embarrassed.
Yeah, and then the other review we have is from.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's more.
No, it's okay. It's actually from someone else who's I don't think is on right now, but Arlene, who is often on the live stream, who said, great show, 5 stars. Another great and relevant topic. The guests on the show have really helped me to grasp some of the complex issues going on during this incredible time of upheaval and confusion. Thank you for being a voice for change, which is lovely. And then also,
wow, thanks, Arlene.
Yeah, that was great. And she left it on Apple Podcasts, which for those listening, if you listen to the podcast, if you like the podcast, definitely review and give 5 stars on Apple Podcasts because it helps other people find the show.
And it was a really great conversation as we were talking about police in the community versus Chicago versus New York. Also, because she's running for congressional seat out of Chicago, and she knows Laura Lightfoot, which is the Chicago mayor. And I asked her how she felt about Eric Adams making his comment about the Laura Lightfoot, and
Yeah.
she was like, keep her name out your mouth, New York mayor. mind your business.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's interesting just to hear the difference in politics, how they talk about police reform in Chicago versus how they talk about it in New York. And on this podcast, we had a young voice who was like, I don't want any police. And then we had, Karen, who was talking about, well, that's not logical. We need the police, so you have this really great conversation without anyone being like, there's going to be blood on the streets.
Yeah.
So it's I don't want to give too much away, but it's a great episode that's out right now on Friends Like Us. And if you're a fan of mine, and you're not subscribed to the podcast, what are you doing? Come on. I mean, come on. What are you doing here? I was at the farmer's market this morning, Chester.
You were? It's
Yeah,
so
and
cold.
I know, and that's why I get annoyed when someone decides to have like a fun conversation, which a woman did today. She beat me to the front of the line with her child, so I had to be sympathetic, and then she had the nerve to then take her time. She did a little plie, kind of like cutesy, as she was talking to the guy. The whole thing just annoyed me. It just bothered me.
I can't believe you went there today. I think I would have skipped today being so chilly.
I had to go to get my produce. Sometimes I just, what, if you get into the rhythm of doing something enough, when you don't do it, it feels wrong.
I guess I know what you're talking about. Every Saturday, I usually go grocery shopping right in the morning and have Dunkin' Donuts and then do this. But if I don't do that in the morning, I don't feel like a person.
Thank you, Stace. So Stace is giving us more feedback. That dialogue between Kenise and Karen was a great example of deep listening and coming from a place of care and curiosity.
Stace,
Yes.
how do you know how to spell everybody's name perfectly? I mean, who would think Karen was spelled that way?
Because she follows the podcast. She follows the podcast.
I know, but she's spelling everybody's name correctly, even the ones that aren't on the podcast. I don't know. She's just really talented.
She got Kenise, so she follows we spell it out in the description.
I can't spell Evelyn's name properly. There's a Y.
You can't?
Oh, look at
Hot
Hot
Tim.
Tim.
There's a Y.
See, Hot Tim.
Hot Tim is here.
I find it very difficult to believe that Marina is one of his favorite three.
Hey, Hot Tim. He has an episode out right now where we were talking about critical race theory, and we were also talking about how to talk about healthcare. And health, and a lot of what someone was saying on his show was that Black people are getting more because they're being Black is a risk factor for COVID, and I disagree with the phrasing of it. The phrasing of that is problematic because you don't want to make it sound like Black people have COVID just because they're Black.
Well, I was told that they're so good at spreading this rumor. I heard that that is a thing, that Black people are more susceptible to COVID.
If only.
Wait, no, the problem with that statement, and is the problem with what you just said, Juskow, and it's not your fault. It's what they are putting out there.
That's what I'm saying.
And how you're here is the problem with this, is how you're hearing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're not discussing is there are food deserts, there's redlining. That, remember, you were like, you kind of knew, like in Harlem, they don't get certain things. Well, if they don't get certain things, guess what? They have higher risks of things. If they don't get good grocery stores, you have higher risk of blood pressure. You have higher risk of heart attack, higher risk of diabetes, because you're eating like, did you just yawn while I was talking about?
I'm very sleepy.
I saw the yawn go through your nostrils.
Sorry.
Because you tried to control it.
I was. I was so sleepy today. I don't know what happened. I went out last night.
Boring you, Drusky?
No, not in the least. Never.
Where did you go?
I went out with this girl, and I was so angry that she went to the bathroom, and then the guy came with the check, but it was the electronic check. So, I couldn't have. I thought maybe I would never split it normally, but we're also friends. So, and I'm not making a lot of money. So when the check came, the guy was just holding it. He's like, does this look good? And she was in the bathroom, and I'm like, yeah. And then we were just staring at each other. I'm like, oh, here you go. It was really expensive. And then I thought, all right, well, I'll let her leave the tip. And then he's like, and here's the tip section. And you have to just press the button, because if you scroll going less, he's going to think you're an asshole. So I had to press the button that, it was 25%, because that's what's in the middle. I'd never seen this where they just hold it. I thought they would leave it with you so you can contemplate it a little bit, and then
You've never been to other countries then. That's why they do it in Australia.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's a good system, but I don't like when the waiter's just sitting around looking at you. I like to think about it.
They do that now in the cookie places too sometimes.
And I want to read to make sure they didn't mess up. I mean, I am Jewish after all. I want to make sure they didn't add something that's not supposed to be there. And there was no way I could do that because he's just staring at me. It was freaking me out. And that made me sleepy because I've been thinking about it all day. And I couldn't sleep at night. I'm like, what was that all about? Meanwhile, that's when I texted you, that girl, I guess, had just broken up with somebody, and she wanted to talk about men. I thought maybe you'd want to talk about her. It was actually black men, so I thought maybe
so she wanted to talk about breaking up with
black men.
Oh, me. You
I mentioned well, she had said that she was talking about a guy that she was going out with years ago, and I'm like, oh, my friend Marina has that same issue.
Oh, with the guy from England?
Yeah.
And she dated a guy from England?
No, she just was having the same thing where she was kind of still checking out what he was doing years later.
Oh yeah. No, I always look every now and then to see how they're doing.
We all do that. Everybody does that.
I mean, it's a horrible thing to do. One of my exes, most of them have me blocked. I really know how to hurt people's feelings when it's over.
But she just kept saying, she's like, how would he give up this ass? I mean, what's going on? Look at this ass.
I have no feelings for this guy anymore whatsoever, but he was a beautiful looking guy, and I'm always just, it's out of curiosity.
Well, then I told her the story of how I just really annoyed him that day when I met him, and
oh yes, that's
awesome.
right.
He had to run away, but I didn't know.
So wait,
was
go
me,
back. Tell everyone. You have to set this up. So Juskow is very defensive of me in a very beautiful way, and then sometimes he's also an asshole. So my ex-boyfriend was a model, right? He's very attractive, which as you all know, if you've been on here, you know that Juskow likes looking at beautiful men.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting on the toilet. Sorry for that image, but I'm in my house and I get a text from Juskow. I'm looking at my phone and he goes, look who I'm with. And it's my ex, who's beautiful. And he's like, got a great picture with him. He's all leaned out. And it pissed me the fuck off. And you left me with that for 24 hours. And then the next, I think 2 days later, I got the full story. So go.
Oh, no, just like I knew I knew I had to be rude. So, I was just
the sipping tea dude. That's right.
I was making fun of him and his career and just really giving him so much shit that he finally left this bar. And I'm like, oh, what happened to, this guy? And then my friend said, he showed me the text. He goes, I just had to leave. Juskow was an asshole. Because I was just like, man, you messed up big. Man, like I was just saying how great you were doing and how bad he was doing. I really put it out there. It was awesome.
So it was nice to hear that at least you gave him some shit after the nice photo.
Well, I obviously had to take a picture. I don't know this guy, and all of a sudden I run into him at this random bar. I mean, so far away that you can't even believe you're in Manhattan. The odds of anybody we know going in there, it's on the Lower East Side. And it's so far, like no trains go there or anything. So I was like, I got it. I said, we got to take a picture. And then I just started nonstop giving him shit.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
I said, this is what Marina would want me to do.
That is absolutely. And then he blocked me after that, actually.
Oh,
he blocked. Yeah, he blocked me after that. He got really upset, which makes him very immature. I'm sorry. But whatever. And here's the thing. It's like, you know what? I do realize I'm a little bit shallow because I was into him because of his looks. But,
Oh, we all go through that.
Sometimes it's
we
like,
all do that.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm still single. I haven't met anybody cool. I just like them because they're pretty.
I used to date a lot of unattractive men when I was younger, and my dad used to get very upset about it. So it was never my dad was like, "Baby, please."
Well, remember I used to tell Sarah Silverman about that all the time. I'm like, what is the matter with you? Oh my God. Oh, she was dating the ugliest guys I've ever seen in my life because she never dated anybody for looks, always talent, right? Some of these guys were disgusting. And so I remember setting her up with a guy that was hosting Saturday Night Live once. I'm like, hey, this is the guy. That's the guy you should be with. And she's like, do you think so? And I made her go out with him. And they went out for a little bit, and she was just so miserable. The guy was dull and he was boring, but he was very handsome. And she just like then went back to the really disgusting dudes that she's so pretty. But thank God for those kind of girls. Otherwise, I'd never go out with anybody. So
They're saying Marina Franklin was in the movie Trainwreck. That was me.
oh, that's one. I've never seen that movie except for that scene.
You haven't seen
That's the one with John Cena, right?
Yeah,
Keith? Oh
yeah,
my
and
God,
Keith,
that's
and we're
so
in the
funny.
movie theater, and I was like, he wants to fuck you.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my God. We ate
You
a
and
lot of
Keith are so
popcorn.
funny together. You should have your own series.
I know, we are funny together. Every time I call him every day just to get him talking too, because his speech is a little, right now. But this is how he answers. What? What? And then like lately what's happening is last night, I forgot what it was. We were arguing about something, and he was I couldn't understand him. And then he tried to read. Oh no, he spelled Aruba, and he spelled it wrong. And I was like, let me find out. It took a stroke to find out that you can't read because you got to spell things because people can't understand.
That's one of those words that is spelled exactly the way it sounds.
Yes, he
There's
spelled
no
it AROU. I said, Keith,
there's like a number in it.
Are you illiterate, man? What happened here? And he was laughing, and I was like, that's. I mean, he's not right, but it is a funny. It would be
Is
a
he
funny.
doing the Aruba Ray show?
No, he's not. But we were talking about someone saying some ignorant shit last night. But it was like, no. That's another story. But I was just like, how funny is that to find out from someone who loses their speech that they actually can't spell because they have to spell everything out. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the way you'd find me doing it. I'm pretty bad. I think that's why I was so impressed by Stace. I know she was looking it up, but still, because still, even if she looks it up, the time to take to look it up to make sure it's spelt right here is another form of intelligence. That you take the time to make sure, even in this stream of chat room, you want to put everything precisely.
Everyone who is smart looks things up. Right. It's like the sign of intelligence is someone who actually
even sending an email where there's people that don't care about spelling, and then there's the people that actually go and check before they send it.
Yeah. Is the seller accessible? Yes. Wait. Certain rooms are accessible at the cellar. I'm not there tonight because I'm taking pictures tomorrow. It's been a long time since I've done a headshot. That's why I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my eyebrows. I finally went back to her after she wasn't vaccinated, but she's vaccinated now. So the woman who does a great job. Look at
you
these
have proof
eyebrows.
of vaccination?
No, I wore a mask. I mean, I would rather die than to not go to her anymore. So I had to let it go. I was like, you know what? Because someone else did my eyebrows and they burnt me. And I was like, I'm going to have to go back to the non-vaccinated girl.
Why don't you try the guys in my building? Apparently
but she's vaccinated. She told me she was vaccinated because she went to the cellar and she told me that she had a friend who wasn't fully. The cellar is very strict about their vaccination rules when you come in. And she said her friend was not fully vaxxed. So they couldn't get in. So I was like, all right, good. So you are. So this is good information. Yeah. But Bonnie and I are taking photos. And my sister is coming in from Chicago. She does an amazing job. Before we go, I will show her Instagram just so you guys can follow her. And then we'll get out. Because I love promoting, my family. Well, why wouldn't I? You guys could talk while I'm doing this.
I prefer the uncomfortable silence.
Do you?
I think everybody knows I don't. you want to see a picture of the girl I went out with yesterday?
Yes,
Tall.
I think Evelyn would
absolutely.
like her.
Oh, she's cute.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. What are you?
No, she's pretty. You just can't. I don't know.
She's cute.
Yeah, I think she's actually really pretty. Maybe that's that.
Okay, so this is my sister's page. This is her work.
Wow.
That's good. That's
That's
Yeah.
really good.
So this is like on the far right, my friend Dana, our friend of the family, Dana. And so she's coming tonight. Look at that.
Wow.
Now, I'm not going to be
Sounds good.
taking pictures like this, the
Are you
woman
sure?
here.
That's not a bad idea. What are you, Bonnie, taking pictures for?
Well, you never know. You know, we got to show that we're writing. So you never know. You got to get ready. I mean, I'm not going to
Smart.
be like this woman. But, you know, we do want to take pictures. And I it's been a long time.
You got that, Arlene?
There you go, Juskow. That's for you.
Yeah.
Look
Well,
at
I don't like that kind of stuff. I mean, I just, well, maybe, I don't know. Listen, if they were here in person, I would be completely, Rachel always tells that story when I went to the fire department, the firehouse, and I was like, so where do you guys sleep? I mean, it was just they're so those firefighters, they were the most handsomest men I've ever seen. One time they came in my apartment because my doorman passed out here, or he had a what do you call it, a seizure.
Oh.
And all the fire guys came in, and it was one hotter than the next. I was holding the door open like in Risky Business with that music playing, and seriously, one hotter than the next. I mean, tall and handsome and good looking. It was unbelievable.
That's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember them coming over to my house. I had the heater, my heat thing, my radiator was like exploding with steam and stuff. And I had to call the fire department. And I was just like, it was
Right?
during the pandemic. And I was like,
I mean,
yeah.
they're,
And they didn't have their little footies on. And I was like, I don't care. You could come on in with those sexy boots.
I know. I don't know how a man doesn't get intimidated by that too. I mean, it's like, it's like they're firefighters. They're men. I'm not a man, I mean, it's amazing, they're men. They put themselves in danger.
They fight fire.
Oh, is Arlene here? Arlene is here.
Oh,
Arlene,
I think she might have just come in.
tell her, Evelyn, we read
yeah, we read your latest review on Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you, Arlene. Thank you so
And
much
obviously,
for that.
Mike, I agree with you about Bonnie.
And I have, oh yes, absolutely, because Bonnie is very talented. That's why I'm working with her. I only work with the best. What up, cuz?
I asked her to be
cuz
on the
is
show on Tuesday too, but she can't make it.
So just so you know, like the next episode on Friends Like Us, we got to get out. But the next show is with two actors, Ken Liu and Christina Anthony. Christina Anthony was on Blackish, Mixedish. She's also on the Netflix show, which, I've watched it. The Woman Across the...
Oh, the one with Kristen Bell.
The one with Kristen Bell. She's in that. She plays the detective.
I gotta see
Oh,
that.
wow.
Have you seen it,
I
Evelyn?
haven't.
I haven't, but I've heard about it.
I watched it. I watched it.
Is
I
it
burned
good?
right through. Yeah, I liked it. I loved
Kristen
it.
Bell,
And it's
smart.
funny.
She does good
It's got
stuff.
like really there's something that they're doing now with like dark humor that's very interesting. It's more subtle, and when it hits you, you're like, oh my god, this is comedy. It's so funny. So anyway, we have the detective and we have Kenny Liu, who's talking about A Shot Through the Wall, which is about an Asian American police officer. It's based on a true story. It's not the true story, but it's based on a true story about an Asian officer here in New York City, based on the true story about him shooting, ricocheting, and then killing someone within the building. And it's called A Shot Through a Wall. And Kenny Liu plays that officer. So it's one of my favorite episodes so far. Like the one that's out right now is really good, but this one coming with the two oh my god, it's such a great conversation with both of them. So please check it out. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now to Friends Like Us and hit that auto download function, so that way you get every episode. All right. So I'm going to go out by saying, Juskow, tell our listeners where they can find you.
Well, I have my show on Tuesdays on YouTube at 6:00, which Marina will be on this Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. My podcast is called Juskow in the City. And I do a Billy Joel podcast called Billy Joel A to Z. That's about it. I have nothing going on. It's very sad.
Well, Jesus Christ, Juskow.
Well, I'm not like appearing anywhere. I'm not doing any comedy. I'm not going out of the house. I got to get out of that. I'll wait till it gets warmer.
Oh, Arlene's been on for the last hour. Oh, thank you. You're being quiet. Well, good luck to you, Juskow, and finding something to do. All right. Evelyn?
You can follow me on Twitter at Evelyn G. Frick. Any sort of shows that I'll be doing, which I'm going to start doing shows again because Omicron is on the downturn finally. So yeah, you can follow me there for any Reductress articles that I'm writing, any news articles that I'm writing, and yeah, any updates on shows that I might be doing.
Yeah, and you should share that article if you can in the chat. Is there a way you can put that in?
I can send it to you. I actually don't think I think only the host is able to send messages.
I think Elizabeth is right. I should be at that photo shoot. So
you're welcome to come to the photo shoot tomorrow if you want. There's a stylist there. I've got a makeup person. If you want a little makeup, Juskow, and you want to pay my sister for some photography photos, sure.
It's not a horrible plan.
You're welcome to come. I mean, it's
you don't have to. Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome to go, not come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what was really okay? Before we go, I have to share this. Patty, who is Irish, who was doing the studs and putting up stuff. I guess he likes to tell me jokes and stuff, and he's trying to explain like an older Black woman to me, and he did it worse than you've ever done of a Black voice. Because imagine an Irish guy trying to do an older Black woman's voice.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, and he was like, "Ew!" It was so bad.
The way I do your voice. Hey, I'm Marina. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, it was worse. It was so bad.
It was worse than that?
Because he said he was holding the door open for an older Black woman, and she was like, she's like, I'm mad at it. I'm mad at it. You're getting a bit. And then he said, go get the Benjamins. And I was like, please, I wanted to go, don't. Please don't. I said, so you're saying this old woman was hit? He's like, yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, yeah, what isn't hilarious is you're in person. You need to stop. Oh, I mean, it is funny, but I was like, don't ever do that again. So you guys, I gotta go to September 12th. I mean, wait, January 12th. What did I say? September?
What?
I don't know where I am. Sorry. I'm talking about where I'll be.
You do have dates on September 12th.
I do. All right. It's like,
yeah.
But January,
right,
where are we? February. Next Saturday. This coming Saturday.
In Princeton.
No, this coming Saturday, I'll be in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania at Still Stacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'll be doing a full hour, which I have not done in so long. I cannot tell you. I cannot wait because my material, I can't do it in 10 minutes. I just cannot do it. It's just not me. So come out if you are in Pennsylvania, if you're close to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, I will be there next Saturday or this coming Saturday. Okay.
Out in Bethlehem, they're killing time. Filling out forms, standing online.
And so now
Billy Joel.
And then on February 25th, I will be in Princeton, New Jersey, and Lois will be with me. So if you're anywhere near Princeton, New Jersey, and you want to see me, or you want to see what Lois looks like, and you want to hear her start a conversation off with how somebody
it's very
died.
nice to meet you. You're a fan of the podcast, are you? You know, I know a guy that got killed just from watching a podcast.
So that'll be a good show. Baron Vaughn is on that show. I forget who else is on that show, but it's great time. And don't forget to listen to the podcast. I know it's been a long exit that I'm doing, but I want to thank you guys so much for joining us here.
Oh, by the way, the girl I went out with last night, on her back of her phone, Black Lives Matter.
Aww.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
Wait, what?
On the back of her phone, she has a Black Lives Matter sticker. girl I went out with last night.
Oh, okay. Because she dates black guys.
She loves black guys.
I'm going to tell you. I will tell her to take that sticker off because she's just trying to date black guys. I see what's going on.
That's
here.
why I was hoping you would talk to her today. I wanted her to come on here. Give it to her good.
Yeah. It's like going to Vermont and seeing all those Black Lives Matter signs and no black people there.
There you go.
When am I coming to Atlanta? I would love to come to Atlanta. Tell them. See you, Stace.
Bye, Stace.
See you all.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
Wash your hands. Wear your masks. And yes, coming from me, Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Well, that'll hold the little bastards for a while. I saw you were waiting then.
I know. I was waiting. Bye.
Oh, sorry.